See. Should be
Oh,
popping
there
up
we
here in
go.
a second. All right. Let's see. Here we go.
This power cell recharges itself by the sun.
I better turn it down.
Recharge your phone any place.
All right, everybody. I got to turn this down. Hold on.
Doesn't the rubberized finish? Never happens.
Mute it, probably. There we go. All right. Hey, everybody. How you doing tonight? I got it muted. Tonight's topic, we're going to talk about something not many people talk about. We're going to talk about sanitation. Uh-oh, I didn't get it turned off. Who's got their stuff turned up?
I got it.
You got it?
Yep.
All right. Everybody here is, hey, Matt, how you doing, my friend? I sent you a link, didn't I? I think I sent you a link, Matt. Look in your email. Anyway, we're going to talk about sanitation because not many people really talk about it. And when all heck breaks loose, probably should have a plan of how you're going to take care of it, you know. So, one of the first things you want to do is you want to make sure that your sewers are not backed up. People in the cities are going to have it tougher than the people out in the outskirts of the country and whatnot. If you're out in the country, you're probably on a drain field and you'll probably not be affected as much as the people in the city. But the people in the city really going to have to worry about how they take care of their sewage. I was thinking that, you know, if you're in the top floor of like a high rise or something, you could probably use your toilet for a while, but eventually all that sewage is going to block off. I mean, it's going to start at the bottom floor and start spewing out of toilets all the way up to the top. And so you really want to have a better plan than that. The storm drains are probably going to be stopped up too. That's why you really need to think about it if you're in the city. You need to start planning a plan just for your sanitation, actually. Because if you guys didn't know it, the average human produces 3 pints of urine and about 1 pound of feces every day. So figure about out how much of that is for however many people it's in your family or your group, and that's a lot. So you're really going to have to start figuring out how you're going to take care of it.
Yeah, and I'd like to put something in there. You know, just manually flushing your toilet is not going to help, and it's going to take a lot of water because it will still back up. You can't just manually flush.
Takes about a 5 gallon bucket actually to flush your toilet
Yeah,
to make it flush automatically to
Yeah.
force itself. So you may want to go ahead, Wayne. You pipe in, sir.
Hope you got a lot of buckets. I
Yeah.
know Tyler's covered.
yeah.
Yep, you got buckets coming out the yin yang.
I would pump the water out of the back of the toilet because that water's still good, and then pull the toilet off and cap the lines, just in case. Because you know it might not be the first few days, but if it's a few weeks, you might start getting raw sewage from the neighborhood backing up.
Also, you would probably want to fill up your bathtub with water while you still have it because only be a few days and the water will probably be done. If it's a earthquake or anything like that, flood, that's all going to make the power and the lights go off. So, first thing most people do is fill up the bathtub and then start filling up buckets because they're anticipating the power going off, power in the water. So, that's one of the things I have written down here in my notes is if you've ever been camping in the woods, you use the bathroom by squatting down or using a bucket to poop into, you know. So those are the kinds of things, you know, like Wayne was saying, make sure you have plenty of buckets, because if you're in the city, you're really going to need a lot of buckets, because there's no way you're going to be able to uh, go out your front door and 150 feet away from your residence and dig a hole. There's just not going to be a way to do that. Most cities are concrete jungles, and unless you live in the burbs, that's just really not going to happen. So you can actually make pre-made kits.
Read Manifestation of Imagination actually done a video on how the sewer system works, and something that you can install into your plumbing that will help it from backing up into your house.
Yeah, unless you have got training in how to take care of that kind of stuff, you're going to need to have a way to make the leach field. This is how I have it figured out. Is just my personal opinion from all the information I've gathered up. Is everything's already happened. Say everything's already happened, and you've been pushed out of the city or whatever. First thing you want to do when you guys are setting up your camp for the dissidents, I guess it is, the people that have been displaced, is you're going to make sure that everybody has their bucket system so that they can get 150 feet away from your camp and just dig like what they call a cat hole. And that's where you dig a hole and put your feces and then cover it up. So a part of that plan would be to collect some lime. Lime makes it go away faster and keeps the odor away. But while you're doing that, you're going to have to put a bigger plan in place. And my thinking is to stay far enough away from your water source and far enough away from the living quarters that you could dig like a large hole and put trenches, a couple of trenches out that way, and build some like outhouses out there for people to use. And that would be the ideal thing, but that is farther into being set up into a new community, so to speak.
Preferably down the back of a hill if you can.
Like if you think about it, if a lot of us watch these nature shows and whatnot, and the people that live far out away from cities and stuff, they put their outhouses far back away from their homes, and they just dig a big hole and they just keep moving that hole around, So that would be the type of situation that you would want to be in the case of a shtf event, and most people don't think of things like that. They're thinking about food and water and the shelter part and all the other stuff, but then they don't really think about what they're going to do when the feces and the urine start collecting and people start coming down with things like typhoid and shoot, I can't think of the others. They're terrible stuff. Let's see, I got it written down here. Let me see if I can figure it out. I got past that part. It's typhus and typhoid, and I can't remember the other ones. There's two other ones. But those kind of diseases will happen very rapidly. You just don't think about it, If you're not keeping your body clean, if you're not brushing your teeth, you're not staying healthy. And hygiene is part of it, which means you have to make sure that your sanitation system is already going to be in place starting from day one. So sure, you can stay in your residence and poop in your toilet, but you're going to have to take a 5-gallon bucket and pour it down there and force it to flush.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens? Everybody in your neighborhood's doing that, right? So now all your sewer mains are backing up because there's no way for it to flow into a treatment plant. So you're going to have sewage coming up out of the ground. That doesn't sound very dang healthy to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it might have been Matt said something about the methane building up. I was trying to find where it was, but I can't find it.
I think a lot of people will die pretty quickly of gastro.
Oh,
When
absolutely.
we get we get that on deployment, someone gets sick with it, and it spreads through an entire base, an entire ship within a couple days. And a lot of people, a good majority of the people that get it so bad when they're throwing up and crapping their guts out, have to get an IV because they can't retain water in a grid down situation. That'll kill a lot of people.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of those diseases. Those things hit you like gangbusters if you don't have a sanitation plan.
And that's something even under good conditions when we're cleaning heads twice a shift and cleaning the mess line and cleaning our shops, it spreads through a base and a ship like wildfire.
So those are where you want to make sure that you have all the things you need in place, even before the SHTF event happens. Buckets like Wayne said. Lime is a good thing to have on hand, you guys. It's gonna make everything stay not so smelly. And also, you want to make sure you know what you're going to use as a cover of dirt. Let's see,
Cat litter is a good one.
cat litter is a good one. Trying to think what that stuff comes in bales. It's planting peat moss.
Yeah.
Peat moss would be a good thing. You could buy a couple of bales of that. That goes a long ways until you can get your bigger plan in place anyway. Make sure you're leaving everything far away. And if you can't, put it in bags, double bag it actually, and tie the top very securely and put it outside your home.
Mm.
Yeah. Wood chips. Uh, I don't know. Is wood chips a good one, or is it better to have sawdust?
They
Sawdust,
both work.
they both work. Sawdust would be lighter for sure.
Yeah.
The sawdust and the wood chips, you have to be really careful too, and you have to move. If you have a lot of it, you got to move those piles around and rotate it because it'll generate heat and spontaneously combust.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, even if you have a big pile of beauty bark, you've ever noticed that if you've had a home or whatever, and everybody, like I did when I owned a home, I had beauty bark delivered to my house, and in a big dump truck, and if you move it around, it starts uh, steaming from the heat that is gathering underneath it. So you have to. I always had them put it away from my house because I didn't always know when I was going to get to it. So that's a big plus. Make sure you're keeping it turned.
Yeah, because if that breaks out in a fire, it goes up ridiculously fast, unbelievably fast.
Yeah, there's some people that even try to save their feces and stuff from not just theirs, but animals, and they use it for fertilizer. But you still want that to be a minimum of 150 feet away from your living area, and make sure that you're staying, I think it's 200 yards off of water sources. And I go with that 200 yards is because I was in excavation for years, and you have to be 200 yards away from any type of fresh water source just in case you hit some sort of contamination. Let's see. Sanitation also comes into play for, say, you have garbage. Everybody's going to have garbage in SHTF. It's going to build up fast because you're not going to have anybody coming and picking up your garbage. So it's going to build up fast. So you want to try to use items that you can either repurpose or use it for like toilet paper or uh, for fire starters or anything like that, because you want to have the least amount of garbage that you can generate,
Hmm. Yeah.
because garbage creates microisms and stuff and can cause illness.
Brings rats too.
Yeah. And not all of it is recycle. You can't put, like paper and cardboard and things like that. You can put on compost, but like tin cans, plastic, stuff like that, you're still going to have to dispose of some trash. No matter how you look at it, you're going to have trash.
You're going to have some, but if you can think of it as a way of recycling, then that would be the best way to go.
Yes.
And the stuff that you cannot recycle or reuse, you want to make sure put it in a garbage sack and tie it off in a knot, maybe, or close it up with a piece of rope. Make sure it's securely shut so that the air doesn't come out of there and attract rodents and stuff like that.
Best bet is to burn it all for most people. Find a place where you can community stick the trash community wise and burn it.
Let's go have a bonfire.
Because bags of trash are never completely sealed. The rats and the seagulls and everything else will get into them.
Oh yeah, all they have to see is bag, and they think it's mealtime. They've been uh, modernized pretty good. What do they call that? Shoot, can't think of it.
Uh, oh gosh, Reed. I was trying to think of his name. Said the metal you can melt down and cast into useful things.
Oh, gotta love carpet python. Said you gotta have plenty of snakes so that they can eat the rats.
Oh yeah, I saw that now.
You gotta be careful melting metal too because of the fumes. There's a lot of stuff that people don't think about without modern amenities, without modern ventilation and power. Melting metal is a good idea. Just make sure that you have respirators and your shaving
Also,
say
you may want
respirators
to
work.
consider catching your rainwater. You could use that to flush your toilets with, or to make sure that your garden is getting watered and stuff, so you're not using the good water for menial things, like drinking.
Yeah, gray water is good for that too.
Yeah. So if you could catch your rainwater, even in the shtf, you can say, "Hey, it's not legal where I live." But if you're in an event, I don't think they're going to be checking for legalities of it.
Yeah, I mean, other things too is like having plenty of dish soap and bars of antibacterial soap. And keeping your skin clean at least once, twice a week will prevent you from getting infections and stuff from small cuts.
Yeah, that's what Cheryl brought up before we were talking. Hygiene of your body is going to be a biggie there in those kind of times. You want to make sure that you're staying clean so that you don't come down with any bacteria that may pass to another person somehow. Because it wouldn't take long, think of the bubonic plague. Look how fast that spread through North America.
Oh yeah, I mean, and then you look at certain cultures like the Vikings between Scandinavians between 800 and 1200 AD. The rest of Europe they weren't bathing maybe like once a month. They were throwing their crap in the streets. And just about all the writings about them from monks and other people who they came in contact with, they always wrote about how clean they were and that they never got sick and because they bathed every Saturday.
That's another
Yeah.
reason why you should stay away from, keep all your sewage away from your fresh water sources, so that you can take care of yourself and have plenty of water as well. If you're bathing, make sure you're going down the downhill stream from where you're living.
Mhm. Yeah, and in addition to that, you want to make sure your clothes stay clean because you don't want to be washing yourself and then putting on dirty clothes. You know, you want to make sure your clothes are clean, um, especially like underwear and socks and things like that.
You
Uh,
try to reuse the gray water too on plants, trees, whatever, so it doesn't go to waste.
MOI has a good point. He said the existing elected leaders will not have the skills to lead the people in that sort of situation. So everybody will be pretty much left to their own means of survival.
Um,
A leach field, yep. I was trying to
Yeah.
get to that, Matt. If after everything's settled down and everybody trying to get their groups back into play, then building a leach field would be pretty good. You can actually, there's several kinds to build. I used to be licensed in putting those things in drain fields and stuff. So I know from personal experience that there are several methods that you can use. If you already have like a septic tank in the ground where you live, that you could live off of that for years. I mean, before it ever failed on you. But you would actually want to add on to it and put a leach field in. Most of them already have lines in the ground that have drain fields and stuff. But eventually, those are going to dry up, and you need to be aware that you're going to have to put in new ones. But they have these things out now they call mound systems, and the pipes are actually just laying on top of the ground and downhill from the house, and you just lay the pipes on top of the ground, and you cover them with rocks, gravel, and newspaper, and then you just mound the dirt on top of it. And what happens is, as the PC goes down in there and dries out, it aerates up into that mound, so there's no fumes or anything like that. I know plenty about those. I put so many of those things in. I used to dream about it. See what else we got.
okay, they're talking about, there's some talk in the chat about smoke showers, dust bath, where you clean yourself with smoke. I was trying to
Smoke
find what it
bath.
was.
Never heard of smoke bath. You heard of a smoke bath, Wayne?
Oh, here it is. Don't forget taking a
Yes.
refreshing smoke
Uh,
shower.
a smoke bath like what the natives do, where they make a smokehouse. The smoke from certain woods like cedar will actually cleanse your skin. Cedar, white sage, and a few other things will cleanse your skin and kill bacteria. That's why they do the smokehouses. And they also in the mornings when they pray, they'll burn white sage and cedar and waft it over themselves, cleanse themselves.
That'd be like a steam bath, huh?
Yeah, that's actually something we do every morning over the stove.
Wow. I never thought about that. That's a good thought.
I've seen videos on it, and you know it's pretty interesting to watch. I don't know who does them. Smudgings, that's it. Kaylin says smudgings, smudging.
Smudging. I've heard of smudging.
Yeah.
Never heard of that the smoke part, but I think that makes sense.
Now, another area that you want to keep clean is your mouth. You know, make sure you stock up on toothpaste or baking soda. You can clean your teeth with baking soda. You want to keep your mouth clean and try to keep your teeth healthy because a bad tooth can cause some major issues.
Other people's mouths can be problems too. That was one of the things we feared overseas, was getting bit by someone else.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
People's mouths are dirty.
Don't matter if you brush your teeth and gargle either. Your mouth just takes in, when you breathe in, it's taking in all kinds of crap. I learned that in the Navy myself.
That's right, Mouse. An abscess not only can make you sick, but it can kill you. I almost died from one when I was younger.
And Grumpy said you can also clean your teeth with charcoal.
Yeah, I suppose.
And Palmetto said fingernails, keep your fingernails clean. And that's very true, because if you are scratching, or if you accidentally scratch someone and you've got dirty fingernails, you could spread some bacteria or any number of things. So yeah,
Here's something that you could actually meter by is count the times a day that you flush your toilet. When you go in there and use the bathroom, count the number of times you flush your toilet, and then every time you flush it, sink 5 gallons. So it'd be 5 gallons of water every time you flush the toilet, and everybody pees about 2 pints a day, and poops about a pound a day. So you figure that out. 5 gallons of water, that's a lot of water to try to come up with just to keep yourself up with the Joneses. I got a toilet in my house, so it's going to be okay at first, but I'm saying like a week into it, you're not going to be able to come up with that kind of water to keep yourself. I don't know how to say it. You're going to have to poop on a bucket no matter what.
Yeah.
If you have an abscess tooth and grid down, just pull it out. And if you have any antibiotics, use them, because that will kill you very fast. And if it gets infected, it is the worst kind of pain you will ever have in your life. I'm speaking from experience.
Yep, me too. Been there, done that.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see what else. And some of the other things I had thought about is razors. No, yeah, it's shaving is not an absolute necessity, but I know for women it can cause a few problems with if they don't keep themselves shaved, if their underarms and stuff. Some women have problems with ingrown hairs under their arms because of it. The legs aren't so bad, but under the arms, they have a few issues.
Yeah, that comes into where cleanliness is.
Yeah.
And MOI has another thing about the parasites. If you're not eating right, also, that's going to cause parasites in your intestinal area. So it's going to be a bad day for everybody. The parasites will also end up in your feces that you're putting out into the open. So those things spread like wildfire, just about like rabbits.
It's pretty gross, Palmetto.
Pinworms are usually transmitted through scratching your what? While you
How do
sweep.
How do you tell that you have pinworms or get rid of them? I don't know much about pinworms other than the other crazy stuff that Sippy talks about.
That was the only way you'd be able to tell, wouldn't it be in your poop?
I
I've
You'd
don't.
have
never
to
had.
you'd have to poop them out, wouldn't you? It'd be like a dog. When he poops, he's got worms in his poop. Tells you he's got worms, right?
I would
Or
say
maybe we just go along dragging our butts on the ground.
It's so gross. There's so many other things I'd rather deal with that are horrible than that.
yeah.
That was a good one.
Palmetto said you have to sneak up on usually kids at night while they're asleep and use a flashlight. Okay.
That'll get you thrown in jail.
That's it. Yeah.
that's that's what I was
Good thing
thinking.
there'd be no rule of law, right? Uh,
Um,
uh,
the only other thing is keeping your living area clean. I mean, like you had mentioned earlier, make sure that you bag up your trash and take it away, take it out. You don't want your living area to get uh, piled up with trash and junk, and you want to keep it as clean as you can. Keep uh, your countertops or tables or whatever it is, keep them clean and keep your floors swept, things like that. So, you want to keep your general living area clean as well. And don't forget to clean your bedding.
Also, your neighbors probably aren't going to be as knowledgeable as you are because they're not going to be prepared. So they're going to be out throwing garbage out of their house, and they're not going to be watching where they're throwing it probably. So you may want to go and police your area if you're still in the city or something. Go out and police around your building and stuff. Make sure that you're keeping the garbage out away from the foundation where rats and mice and spiders and snakes and all that stuff could actually penetrate into the dwelling. So make sure you're always policing the outside of your building, especially in the urban areas.
Yeah, because like Lori Jean said, it keeps the pest away. Yeah, exactly.
It might be a good idea to have like 6 extra toilet plugs for the neighbors on each side of you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
They got those cleanouts on the outside, you could just plug it right up.
Because
Of
it
course,
doesn't do no good if you keep the sewage from backing up in your house if the people on each side of you get backed up.
yeah, that's right. That's like I said, it'll be okay for a while, but eventually it's got to come out somewhere. So the people around you, if they're not in a prepared state of mind, then they probably are going to just keep on doing what they always do until they can't do it anymore. And then they're going to sit there and scratch their heads or their butts or something and try to figure out what they can do next. By then it's already too late for them.
Yeah, and Reed brought up bed bugs will be a major problem. And I know a little bit about bed bugs. I know that they can go like for 10 months without eating and still be able to live. And they hide, you actually need extremely high temperatures to kill them. And one of the ways you could get rid of them, if you don't have electricity where you can run a dryer, is put them in a black trash bag. Put your bedding in a black trash bag and set it in the sun. Make it airtight and put it in the sun, and the heat from the sun will kill them. But yeah, that is a bit of a problem. That can be a very big problem, actually.
Yeah, the people around you are probably going to be more or less concentrating on the fun stuff like food and weapons and stuff like that. They probably won't even be concentrating on water. So make sure that you're stocking up on plenty of water and using it sparingly. because you don't want to use the water to flush the toilet. Just because it's there doesn't mean that you have to use it. I mean, it'd be great if you had like a stream or something running by your house, but in most urban cities, they don't have too many creeks running through town. It'd be I guess out in the outskirts or the suburbs. They might have some out that way, but right in the city, they're gonna be in a world of hurt for sure.
Hell, I might go in after the looters and get all the good stuff that's left, like the boots and the and the nails, you know.
Nails for sure.
Yeah, yeah, watching out for what your neighbors do, because if your neighbors are not prepared, they're not going to care. So you just have to watch them. Um,
Well, as everything deteriorates, the microorganisms are going to be the ones that start thriving.
hmm
It's my opinion. Like the things that you can't see are going to start growing and they're going to start multiplying. And the people that are not thinking anymore, they're going to be opening and closing, up and down the windows, open the door, shut the door. All that stuff's going to start coming inside the buildings. So that's something you got to think about. Sure, you're going to have to go out sometimes, but try to keep that to a minimum. You're going to have to be taking your sanitation needs out. You're going to have to take your garbage out, but try to do that. Make it planned so you're planning for one trip a day out the door. Trying to keep those microorganisms and stuff out, and you're safe inside. So some people just don't figure it out.
yeah.
Lice. MOI says lice. Lice is bad anytime. There's so many. That's what I say. There's just so many microorganisms, and they're going to be rampant. I mean, when the wheels on the bus stop going around, the wheels of motion for the government agencies and stuff, everything's just going to start getting run down, and it's going to happen pretty fast. So the more knowledge you have in all these areas, the gives you that 1 foot up that nobody else has.
Manifestation made another good point. Trash in the water. If you go to any third world country, if you've ever been there, it's just like massive floating heaps of trash, and they're like bathing and fishing in it. It's disgusting.
I saw that happen in Subic Bay. I used to go to Subic Bay all the time. That's disgusting there.
I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Do you see that from Palmetto? Have we discussed
Conjunctivitis.
conjunctivitis?
Conjunctivitis. We have not. I'm not even sure I remember that much about conjunctivitis. Ink eye.
Pink eye. Oh, okay. He said
That's from rubbing your eyes when your hands are infected.
yeah. Yeah, MOI, you're exactly right. The best thing you can do is organize your neighborhood and people around you, because that's the only way you're going to get sanitation and all that under control.
Actually,
And other things.
actually, you should try to do it before an event.
Yes.
If you're going to plan on organizing your neighborhood, you need to get with your neighbors now and start getting to know them and stuff, and try to feel them out. I wouldn't tell them I was a prepper. Some guys kind of take that the wrong way, but just kind of feel them out and see how they go, and see if you could actually form a group from them, or if you're going to have to go outside your area to find a group. I know there's a lot of people that are forming groups that aren't in the same area. They just have a meeting point arranged.
Yeah.
But if I think it's a good idea to do the neighborhood thing, if your neighborhood is on the same mind tract as you are. Like when I owned my own house, it was like that for me. All my neighbors knew how I felt, and they all were kind of on board with it. You know, some of them had stores up, and some of them didn't. But the ones that didn't, they were ready to be security or whatever needed to be done. You know, and it's like when I moved here, I have nothing. I don't know anybody here. You know, so I'm kind of on my own here.
Well, that's why we've changed our plans. Originally, Chris was going to come to us if something happened, but we've changed our plans and we will be going to him because the neighborhood that I live in, compared to the neighborhood he's moving into, um, I don't trust my neighbors. I don't trust my neighbors now. So I know I'm not going to be able to trust them if something happens. So, you know.
I think Wayne's probably in the same boat as I am. He moved from where he knew everybody to where he doesn't know anybody, and he's starting all over again too. And there are several of us I've noticed in the in the community that are going through the same thing. So it's just on getting to know your neighbors and then figuring out from there what you can do and what you can get away with.
Yeah.
Looks like we got. Oh, they're telling me Hangouts is going to be going away.
Yeah. I do the same thing, Palmetto. Ever since I got gastro in 2007, I overwash my hands all the time. I had to get hauled off by paramedics and taken to the hospital. And then they left me in the naval hospital and not Norfolk. Where's the other naval hospital out there in Virginia? I can't think of it. But they left me there, and I was so dehydrated, I was blacked out. Paramedics saw me still sitting there hours later, picked me up, took me to Norfolk General, and my veins were shriveled up so bad they had to have a surgeon get an IV in me.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
There's a message on my screen saying that Hangouts is going away August 1st. That's what I was leaning forward for you guys. It says Hangouts on there is going away August 1st.
Yep, they're getting
Oh,
ready for
wow.
the election.
But I already found a backup. I can still do Hangouts for YouTube on another platform, and I can do a panel there. So I've already got one step ahead of them.
Yeah,
Mouse
Palmetto.
Toast, Mouse Toast said just the panel part you can stream, but just not have a panel.
Well, Mouse Toast, guess what? I found where I can. I don't know if you guys know about it. It's called StreamYard. They have a free version of it, and then they have a paid portion too. But you can have a panel on that, and the people that you invite up on your panel don't even have to be uh, a part of or a member of that of StreamYard. All I have to do is send you guys a link, and you can just pop right in. So that's what I liked about it. I did a test one on last Tuesday on Facebook. I'm going to do another one tomorrow and see how it goes. But I'm pretty sure that's how I'm going to be doing my panels. Is I'm going to start doing them through that StreamYard because I can have up to 8 people on the panel, and
Uh,
they don't have to be affiliated with StreamYard unless they want to be.
MOI also brought up food poisoning. Said he got sick twice from food poisoning. He's super careful with food now. It almost killed him once. So,
Oh, food poisoning is going to be a big one.
yeah.
Food
Because
poisoning's bad.
it's going to be a big part of the sanitation because actually people are going to be probably eating food they shouldn't be eating. the people on the outside, the people outside your groups and stuff, you're throwing away stuff that's bad, but they might not have prepared. They're probably start trying to scarf cans and stuff that are already opened or whatever and have gone bad. So they'll be doing whatever they have to do to survive. And guess what? They're going to get food poisoning, probably die.
One thing you can do if you get something like that, or you get gastro, like I was talking about earlier, where it's coming out both ends and you can't retain water. It's pretty gross, but it works. You can do a rectal drip. Basically, give yourself an enema and pour water in your butt so you rehydrate yourself. Because
Okay, that sounds
without
wonderful.
without surgical knowledge, or being a working nurse in an ER, you're not going to know how to do all that stuff.
Right. Palmetto said to boil everything, cook it all through, and wash the crap out of your hands. And then MOI said, and I don't know if this is what you was talking about, Wayne. Oral rehydration therapy. Is that what you was talking about?
I don't know for sure. I know when you get that
Oral,
stuff, really bad, you can't retain water at all. If you don't get help, you'll dehydrate to death.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that is that he's talking about.
oral rehydration. That doesn't sound very good, though. I can't imagine pouring anything in my butt.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
no. That's a no touchy area.
survival's not pretty.
Very true. And a lot of people that are in the military have gone over to third world countries, and they've seen that. I went to Bosnia for 10 days, and we were actually shielded from a lot of it, but I got to see enough that I don't even want to think about going there. I don't even want to think about having to live like that. But you never know when it's going to happen, and you have to be prepared for it. And I think that's part of the reason why I want to prep not just supplies but skills, knowing how to take care of these kind of issues, knowing how to prevent these kinds of things, because it is very scary. So
It's,
John
it's
says
actually
John says moonshine is a good disinfectant.
that area has recovered nicely. I spent a lot of time in Croatia in 2015.
It's starting to come back. Is that what you're saying? Croatia.
Yeah, that area is super nice, and it's super cheap because no one realizes it.
yeah,
That
yeah,
used to
we
be.
actually went through there.
Now we got to work on Venezuela to get them back where they were. Who knows how we're going to do that?
We could just leave them alone since we created the problem.
Yeah, I suppose we could, but we created it. We should probably fix it.
It'll
Oh,
screw
okay,
it up
here we
worse.
go. Palmetto said, hold water in your mouth and let it seep through the thin membranes in your inner cheeks. That must be what the oral rehydration therapy is.
That may be right. You get your mouth full of water like that, I have a tendency to swallow instead. I get greedy.
Well, I was in Venezuela in 2007, and around the time where we started meddling, and it was really nice there.
Yeah, it was. It used to be a really nice tourist place. Then our government got greedy.
I did a lot of work in South America, and I got to see how some of those countries were set up. And obviously, I didn't see it at the time, but later on, when things started going downhill, it was like, oh,
Yeah, that's what I don't understand why we get so greedy when it comes to another country. That's the
so
rich, I suppose.
you want to see a third world country, look up where your local, Indian reservations are and go for a drive.
Oh yeah, I already know about that. I spent some time in North Dakota, and I have a lot of friends on the reservation up there. I know
The
all about it.
the
Yeah.
Hopi and Navajo reservation is like being in the Middle East, man.
That's how
Palmetto,
it was up around Minot where I lived in the Indian reservation. It's actually south of Minot, out in the middle of nowhere.
Palmetto said, let me go back here. He said, I wish everyone in the U.S. could uh, see one, see a third world country for just 1 week. They'd appreciate the U.S. much more. And you know what? He's exactly right. Because, like I said, I was in Bosnia. I actually stayed in Herzegovina, but I was only there for 10 days, and that was enough for me. And I was shielded from everything. We were in a group. They didn't let us go into the war areas. They didn't let us go into the places where it was really bad. But what I did see was bad. And yeah, you're exactly right. People really need to see it to understand it. So
Oh yeah, I don't
Yeah.
get it though. I mean, we should probably just like Wayne said, leave them alone and let them just live their own lives.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
but
it's so bad now that somebody should step into Venezuela, I believe,
but
but
it's
not
see.
militarily.
Yeah. It's just seeing that and understanding what it could be like for us, if they don't prepare. That's the whole thing is that you've got to understand what it would be like
Well,
for.
most of those countries don't even like us because we meddled in their politics.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. And I don't
Yeah.
blame them. I
Yemen's
don't.
pretty bad. Palmetto is right about Cherokee. Cherokee and Seminole reservations are nice, but
Well, actually, that tribe up there, the two Laylips up there in Washington, they're doing pretty good for themselves. I mean, they got those casinos and stuff, but if you actually go into the reservation, they live like slobs. I mean, it's
oh
all
yeah,
run down, and they choose to live like that.
Tulalip's kind of a sore subject with me because there's only roughly 4 or 5 actual tribes in the area that were there, and a lot of tribes are kind of like made up. They just tell the government that they only have an oral history and they lost their tribal records. Like Tulalip's one of them. They were
Mhm.
originally where Tulalip was originally the Snohomish tribe at the mouth of the Snohomish River.
Yeah, yeah, I
And
know that.
I grew up right on the line there out in the county. So like some of those tribes out there is kind of a sore subject.
And they live like idiots too. Have you seen that?
Oh
I mean,
yeah, it
some of
pisses
them
me
get
off.
pretty good for themselves, but most of them don't have crap. Even though they get money from the casino, they go out and blow it.
I've Our rights have been whittled down to fishing with a barbless hook and only being able to keep 2 fish. And those idiots net the mouth of the river, take as many as they want, and then leave their nets in the river so it screws everything up upstream.
Yeah, yeah, I hated those guys.
The Tulalip are the worst. They will make you lose all respect for other natives because of how bad they are. It took me a long time to start to see like travel when I was traveling the country and start seeing different reservations and meeting different people to like actually warm up to the natives again after living there.
And the same as anything else, you got the good and the bad, and you
Yeah.
got the ugly.
Yeah, they do the rest of their people a disservice. And they get it both ways too because some tribes they'll get the tax-free status, but if they claim to be a city or a town, they're supposed to lose their tax-free status and generate revenue from the businesses in their town. Well, what they do is they lease their land and they don't consider themselves. So they've got all these shopping malls and these casinos and all this stuff out there, and they're not considered a town. They just lease the land. So they're getting it both ways. They're getting all the revenue from the businesses, and they're not putting it back into their community to their people. and they're also getting everything tax free, and they're just pocketing the money for the tribal council.
Yeah, and then they don't pass it around. Have you noticed that?
And then they
They
tell the
got a
people
big stink for not passing it around to everybody.
no, they tell all their own people that the white man stole the money, that the government stole the money, and
Yep.
it's really them on the council. What they do is they give so they can approve loans to their family members if they have elderly family members because they're really big about taking care of the elderly. So what they do is they approve ridiculous loans to their elderly family members that are about to pass away, and then after they pass away in a few months, they just inherit all the money.
Yep, default it. Yep. Yep. Well, is there any questions out in the side chat? We gave you the history of the two lay-ups. Is that good for you guys? I'm reading the chat. That's right, MOI. I pretty much agree with that about the Russians and stuff. Pine Ridge.
That's funny because the Russians that came over here will tell you different.
They always have different stories. It was all different back in the 50s, MOI. That's called a nicer time. Yeah, times were different back then for sure. All right, is there any other questions, comments, concerns? Athlete's foot. Yep, take care of your feet for sure. We did not cover that. Make sure you are taking care of your feet because your feet are going to get you around.
Yeah, and Hoople's actually done on a little segment in one of his videos about ingrown toenails, and so that's another thing to watch for if you have an issue with that. Apple cider vinegar, he said, can work as well as urine for what, Palmetto? And Lori Jean said plain yogurt helps women with yeast infections.
Yeah, Bear Grylls says you can drink urine. You're hard up. There should be a way to filter it. I believe I read somewhere that you can filter urine. It'd be like purifying it, I would believe.
Oh, okay. He said it's apple cider vinegar for as well as urine works for athlete's foot.
I think you can only get away with drinking it twice before it's too bad for your kidneys and your liver.
That's urine.
Hopefully, I never come to that.
Yeah, no kidding.
And there was something else I saw. Oh, Gray Man said taking care of your feet and footwear should be top of everyone's list.
It should actually, because without your feet, you can't go and do the rest of your things.
Without your feet and your back, you ain't doing nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stop.
Somebody's whistling.
I know, like my back, for example, my back acts up. I ain't doing nothing.
That's how mine is. Some days I can't walk across the room without it putting me down.
Like knees, you can deal with knees for a long time, but you get a back problem or a foot problem, you're screwed.
Okay. All right, you guys, if there's nothing else, we're going to get out of here. We spent our time.
Ooh, that sucks, Lori. They wanted to do surgery on mine, and I told them no.
Yeah, that's wanting to do something with mine, too. Believe it, they said they were only going to put an incision that big in my back and that they could just get in there and get it done. But that's what they did to my dad, too, and he could never walk again after that. You know, he walked with a limp.
Well, for what I have with my my meniscus, basically all the cartilage and stuff being torn up on my knees, they can go in there and surgically remove it, but there isn't anything they can do about it. So you're stuck with bone on bone, and it'll end up being worse over 10 years, even though it'll be better right after the surgery.
Yeah, I just told him I wouldn't let him do it to me because I watched too many people go for the gusto and do nothing but hurt them worse, you know.
I take a lot of hyaluronic acid and glucosamine chondroitin. That helps. It'll help repair it to a certain extent.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking to my doctor here pretty soon. Otherwise, I'm going to be out there looking for my own ways of making it hurt less. I use that kratom a little bit, but that's not the answer for sure. All right, you guys. I'm looking at the chat. I don't think anybody's got anything else. Yeah, they're all talking about surgeries.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. I want to thank you guys for coming by. I have not got next week's planned out yet. I will let you know through a video for sure. I want to thank Wayne for dropping in. Kind of saved my bacon again.
Yeah. Yours and mine.
And if you guys don't have anything else, I'm going to say goodbye.
So thank
Good
you,
night,
guys. You all have a good night.
All right. Bye bye.